Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Diving Navy SEALs Automatic. You can see this delightfully wearable 42mm stainless steel watch on Jaeger-LeCoultre's all-time best bracelet and purchase it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details. Before I get any deeper into this video, I want to fully express that this video is in many ways a throwdown to David Breton of A Blog to Watch, who once said that if we ever had this watch on the bracelet, he would be a buyer. Well, David, balls in your court. He also asked me to perform an incredibly acrobatic display of the watch from overhead. I'm standing behind a camera trying to turn my wrist flush to the camera while turning my elbow 90 degrees. David, you wanted to see how it looked atop the wrist? Well, I'll send you the bill from my chiropractor. That's it right there. Alright, back to the basic fit and the feel, because fit comes first. You can see the watch is 42mm across the round of the case from 9 to 3. Now, that does not include the distinctive compressor winglet or crown. It is a slim watch, and surprisingly so, being the downsized version of the Navy SEALs timepieces, the one allegedly requested by the SEALs themselves. 12.9mm thick means it's only 0.4mm thicker than a Rolex Submariner. So if you can slide that underneath the cuff, you're going to slide this one underneath the cuff. Lug-to-lug, it's a very manageable 50mm. If you include the outward protuberance of the bracelet across the wrist, that does swell it to 52.5mm, but take note, 22mm lug spacing. I can't think of another watch that would look more natural and purposeful on a NATO strap. All of that said, JLC does make a handsome bellows style rubber strap for it that allows it to fit, in my opinion, on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters in circumference, and you can actually see that strap right here. This is what it looks like. You can see that if you must have the tightest possible fit, this is the ticket, and as an owner of this particular strap on a different model, I can tell you it's awesome. That said, this bracelet is the best Jaeger-LeCoultre has ever made, and that's really saying something. Now, it is stainless steel, just like the case, so what's underneath the vulcanized rubber wrap is identical to what the case is made of. And I'll also add this. We've had a good deal of experience with these bracelets for over a decade now, since the original Master Compressor diving watches came out in 2006, and I have yet to see one of these peel, crack, warp, or vulcanize, discolor, or really wear down in any fashion. They've proven to be remarkably hardy. And the nice thing about this bracelet, unlike, for example, the bracelet on the current Polaris line, is that all of the sizing is done with screws. And you'll note, remarkably, all of the links are sizable. You can get a very, very close fit and tailor to the 9th degree. This is the kind of thing that allows you to get a perfect fit, not just because of the fully sizable individual links, but because there are micro links built into the clasp itself. Now, if you pull them out on both sides, deploying both of the incremental links would be the equivalent of taking out or replacing one full link, meaning you can get the equivalent of half a link's sizing by pulling the extension. It's just like a Rolex Easy Link, it doubles down on itself. You can get half a link's adjustment by pulling out just one of the extensions. Now, when closed, this is a rather robust bracelet. You can see it is a quadruple trigger deployant, so you must release the system by depressing all buttons. So you have immense security, and the components themselves are very well made with an arc to the chassis of the system, so it traces the underside of your wrist. Ergonomics are excellent with this watch thanks to the short lugs. The comfortable bracelet, which I'll also add, has an immense amount of clearance on the inside to aerate the wrist on a hot day, and thanks to the deep wells between the links, will not pinch skin or pull hair. The watch is not branded in any way. Viewed from the top, there's nothing to suggest that it's anything but a handsome and rather minimalist modern dive watch. Now, the Navy SEALs line includes some absolutely gigantic timepieces. Allegedly, 1 year after the Navy SEALs line debuted in 2009, the 2010 SIHH novelties arrived with this watch as the headliner for the SEALs collection. 42mm rather than the 44 plus seen on the other watches. This one was supposedly requested by the Navy SEALs themselves because allegedly in their testing, and they were supposedly using the original seals in practice stateside in Florida. They managed to disable so many of the big watches because they'd get caught on things, and this was the timepiece that resulted. Whether that's true or just a romantic marketing tale, I can tell you that this is the best looking of the series and easily the most wearable. It also has some handsome elements. You'll note the step to the lugs where they abut the case, breaking up the massive metal on the flanks. Satin finished, but with a little bit of nuance to the finish itself. As you can see, the satin finish on the lug profiles is vertical. The satin finish on the case band is a horizontal sweep. There's also a handsome tapering polished bevel along the lip of the lugs that nicely sets it apart from the plane of the lug top and the plane of the lug flank. Now, the bezel itself, and this is important with any dive watch, it's best described as Grand Seiko or Blancpain 50 fathoms, the traditional 50-15 50 fathoms, which is to say it's a bit more subtle and refined and luxurious than something with a loud ratchet, like for example an Omega Seamaster 300 meter. It's very positive in its action. The detents are easy to feel. You can't hear them so much. Now the bezel itself has a wonderful knurling on the outer edge. I found that in general with dive watches, the smaller the knurling, the easier it is to grip. The better grip you get, the smaller the notches on the flanks. And this is one of the best examples, along with the Tudor Pelagos, of that practice in action. You'll also note fully calibrated bezel with ceramic insert, very scratch resistant. Effectively, it's going to combine with the sapphire to deflect all the scratches and scuffs that would otherwise turn a conventional anodized aluminum bezel insert into the equivalent of a New York City cab bumper for your wrist. No problems here. Now, you'll note that the dial is inspired by the Polaris, but not slavishly so. It is wonderfully luminescent, and guys, if you stick around to the end of the video, I will do a lume shot with the watch. You can see the finish is a sort of pebbly opaline matte black, meaning it is resolutely resistant to glare. Otherwise quite simple. Easy to read with high contrast. It's the kind of no-nonsense dial face you might imagine a Navy SEAL would request. Now there's a very discreet date at 3 o'clock. I happen to like dates on my dive watches because in the modern era, the dive watch is the watch you wear full time, and therefore you're going to spend 99% of your time desk diving and maybe 1% if you're exceptionally aquatically inclined, actually getting into the pool, the shower, or the surf. I like that date. I like the fact that the watch has a quick set date function. It also has hacking seconds. The compressor crown is part of, in my opinion, the sales argument for the watch because the system is brilliant. 1/2 turn, now you have 300 meter water resistance. 1/2 turn, now the crown is unlocked for winding. You pull it out, and now you've hacked the movement. Push it back in, 1/2 turn, the watch is resealed. All of that executed with consummate ease when your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved. You cannot say that of a tight, traditional screw-down crown with shouldered crown guards. Now, underneath the case back, JLC caliber 899 automatic 43-hour power reserve, free sprung for toughness. It's also very accurate, having passed the Master 1000 Hours control, which is a 1000-hour fully cased up test of winding efficiency, power reserve, resistances, water resistance, chronometric precision. So this watch can easily keep ISO 3159 time, otherwise known as the International Chronometer Standard. Of course, the hacking and the quick set for the date, the watch also features a very efficient unidirectional winding system with ceramic rotor bearings, doubling down on efficiency. JLC creates a watch that is able to keep itself energized even if your combat tends to be fought in the lunchroom, the desk, and, well, vis-a-vis your significant other for the remote in the evenings. This is a watch equally suitable for Navy SEALs and perhaps for armchair commandos of the First Order. So this is the watch you want if you want something that is minimally branded, betrays nothing about its somewhat contrived lineage. Again, I'm not sure how much contact this watch or this series had with the Navy SEALs, but the nice thing is, like the best automotive branded watches, all the branding is on the back. No one's going to know about the eagle and the trident embossing itself onto your wrist. You can see this handsome and delightfully low-profile modern dive watch and buy it on our website. And we are looking at the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Diving Navy SEALs Automatic. Beautifully visible at night. This is a no-holds-barred modern sports watch in every sense. You can see that the dial glows like an absolute torch. The index luminescent on the bezel is highly legible, day or night. This is a watch laid out with a remarkable utilitarian logic about its design. In bright light, no light, or daylight, this is a standout. At 42 millimeters, it's a standout that fits right on a broad range of wrists. See it on our website.